Hello everybody, welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Sorry it's been a while since I posted a video. I've been pretty busy lately with doing some smart home stuff for a couple of clients. There'll be some content coming out of that, some really cool stuff I've gotten to mess with and set up. If you've been following my shorts and my TikTok, you've probably seen that I've been working on making a smart patio. You'll see more of that. Just right now I'm doing piece by piece, kind of the update. But I'll do a whole video with everything that I used, how I did it, and stuff like that. And also, I set up the Gobi outdoor lights. I hate doing Christmas lights, and these are pretty cool, so there'll be a full review on those after I've had them for a while. I've only had them for about a week. But, got out of the way. Today's video is not so much a review of a product, but more of kind of my opinions and thoughts and some stuff about a smart home company. I don't see this done much, where YouTubers will do products, but they won't do like a review of the company. I think that's just as important of seeing a nice shiny product, what it does, but also I think it's just as important to see who makes the product and who you're inviting into your home. Because it's essentially what you're doing. Every time you put a smart home device into there, you're inviting a company to be part of your home. Whether it be sensors, tablets, anything that connects to your network, things that have cameras, microphones, and speakers too. I mean, you bring these computers in your home. So with that, today the video is going to be my honest opinion and kind of a review of the company Wyze. So let's get into it. So who is Wyze? Wyze got started in 2017, if I believe, by 4 people. 2 individuals with Chinese names. I don't want to butcher them, but you can pull them up on Wikipedia. A gentleman named Dave Crosby and a lady named Elana Fishman. Their whole premise was affordable smart home products, mainly at the time affordable cameras. They came out with a V1, that was their flagship / first product. That got phased out about after a year with the V2. There's some technical glitchy issues with the V1 and some security issues that they just could not fix due to the hardware issues. During COVID, they almost had to close their doors. They managed to stay afloat by offering a subscription thing. Prior to this, they didn't have any subscription. You put SD cards in the cameras and that's what it recorded to, but they came up with this Cam Plus idea, and it was basically like $1.99 per camera. And you would get not only cloud storage, but you'd also get all these advanced AI features, such as package detection, car detection, person detection. I think at the time, there wasn't too many, not even Ring was doing this. I think Google Nest might have been doing this, but Wyze was kind of at the forefront with offering some advanced features. So, and that saved the company. Alright, so let's talk about products. As I stated before, all of Wyze products were with budget in mind, so making affordable smart home devices for users. They primarily started with cameras. They have several different type of cameras. They had V1. The V2, I actually have one. It came out at around $20. And then the V3, which is $35 currently. That's been their flagship one. They've made all kinds of attachments for it. So like a lamp socket so you can power it outside easily. And it essentially turns that light into a smart light. They have a garage adapter for it. They have a little light that you can clip on top for it, like a spotlight thing. And they have window stickers. Basically stick it on the window and you plug the camera in there so it's right up against the window. That was kind of neat. They even have an RC car you can put, I think, the V3 on. I might be wrong. Could be the V2, but it was originally an April Fool's gag, but they sell it. It's pretty cool. Aside from their just standalone cameras, they also have pan and tilts. They have pro versions of the V3. And they have so much. They have battery operated outdoor one that also has a solar panel and all this other cool stuff. And then they just came out with what they call the OG camera. I'm assuming this is based off the V1, but better hardware, of course, and a telescopic camera that attaches to it. I haven't bought one yet. We'll get into that later, why I haven't bought anything new from them, but it's neat. I mean, it's affordable, that's for sure. Aside from cameras, what don't they make? Let's see, smart switches, smart LED strips, smart bulbs, both color and non-color, and I'll have to say they're actually pretty decent for the price. I would compare their color saturation to like Philips Hue and LifeX. They have a smart vac, which I own, and I absolutely love that smart vac. I think it was like $250, and it had LiDAR and all this mapping. And at the time, I had Roomba, and it just kind of bounced around and picked it, and that was like $350. But this one actually mapped out the house and went like in a pattern to clean the house. It was pretty neat. I have a handheld vacuum from them. It's not smart, but it's cool to have. What else? A home security system with sensors and all that stuff. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think they even make something obscure as a smart safe. Like, it's literally connected to the internet or the Wi-Fi, and it's a safe that will alert you if it's been open. You know, you put your valuables in there. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And they're always continuing to make more products. I think Wyze's plan is to completely be a one-stop shop solution for budget smart home consumers. They pretty much have it all right now. They're missing a few sensors here and there and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure they're going to build it. So, I mean, you can check out their website. The list goes on and on. I think they make headphones. At one point, I had a watch of theirs. It was $20, and it did everything a Fitbit could do, and it had Amazon's A name on there, which was cool. No speakers, so it didn't really work that well, but yeah. And they're constantly coming out with new stuff, new attachments, new hold devices, so they're always innovating. And I like that about companies. When they're always making something new, they don't get stuck in the same thing. It's kind of why I like Samsung a lot too. Yeah, so that's the list of their products. So I want to talk about reality versus expectations that people have of products. A lot of times people will buy a product and go, I spent money on this, so it should be amazing. Whether it's $10 or $10,000, you know, they expect this. They have this expectation of things just to work really well all the time, especially in technology, which I find funny because I have the opposite view: is you get what you pay for. So if you spend $10 on an item, it may function, it may last sometime, but it's not going to be better than if you spent $100 on a similar product. For example, I'm not trying to say Wyze is a super cheap garbage product. Actually, I think for their price, their products are really solid. So the cameras just always seem to work. They do have issues with Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi range, that is. So like if you have them near your router or in your home within an acceptable range, they work fine. If you start to stretch out, kind of like trying to put them outside or put them in different areas, or in areas that have like there's a lot of walls, concrete walls, sheetrock walls in between it and the router, that you're going to start seeing some kind of issue with the quality and the connection to it. And I think that's because, I don't know this, but knowing my knowledge of how Wi-Fi works, I think it's because their antennas are kind of subpar. I think that's where, you get the $35 camera that has night vision, 1080p resolution, cloud storage if you want it to be, and it has an SD card, and for the most part it has AI technology in it too. There's going to be a sacrifice somewhere, and I think that's kind of like in that Wi-Fi antenna area. I have their lock, well, the actual Wi-Fi bridge one, it's Bluetooth, and it has to have a separate gateway, which is fine, but I've noticed that if there's a power outage or something like that, the calibration on that lock gets reset. Like, it doesn't have any memory of its calibration, so you have to recalibrate it every time. I've actually come to the point where I don't calibrate it anymore, because all it really does is affect the open and close of it. Like, if you automatically close it, or if you close it, it will automatically lock. But it's not that big of a deal. It still does what I want. It's still, like, if I hit close on the app, it closes, or if I have an automation, it still locks itself. But yeah, I think people just need to look at Wyze as a budget brand, because they are. I mean, you're getting more than what you're paying for, but at the same time, it's not gonna beat out, you know, Google Nest stuff or $200-300 cameras or devices. So just keep that in mind. Keep reality in line with your expectations. Don't think that just because you spent money, it's gonna be amazing. They're still pretty good, but I just had to put that in there. So we've kind of highlighted some of their products, some of the services they offer, but this isn't so much a review of their products. It's a review of them and my honest opinion on them. So I mentioned that they had some issues during COVID, and they managed to save themselves by the grace of their consumers with the Cam Plus. They showed their gratitude with a nice email and some discounts, which was cool. They seem to be very communicative to their customers. Except for one thing. I don't know if anybody's aware of this or if you even know who Wyze is, but I think sometime in 2022, they were found out by Bitdefender. Bitdefender's security analyst team found that there was a vulnerability in their V2 camera, which at the time wasn't being sold anymore, but I had bought one. I still owned one. The security vulnerability actually wasn't that big of a deal. It was actually kind of a complicated vulnerability. It had to deal with something during their setup mode, or there was a specific time window that could be done, but it had to have an SD card in it, and it had the attacker had to be on your local network. So you have some specific things there. A time window, it had to have an SD card in there, and they already had to be on your network. I think if an attacker's already been on your network, you're kind of out of luck already, because they could have ran amok anyway. I know they may have used the cam as a backdoor for re-entry or whatever, but it's really specific. So my knowledge of cybersecurity, it was kind of like, this is a vulnerability, but really is it an easy vulnerability for someone to exploit? And it didn't seem like that. It wasn't so much that it had a security vulnerability, it was more of like how Wyze handled it. Again, I had mentioned that Bitdefender was the one that let it out. Wyze knew about it for 3 years and didn't say anything to their community. Even after the community saved them from bankruptcy or closing their doors for good, they weren't honest with them. And I have a big problem with that. I feel like you've got to trust these companies, because you are, like I said, bringing them into your house. And for them not to tell you, hey, there's a security vulnerability, but we're fixing it, is kind of a big issue. There was a lot of posts and a lot of videos at the time from all the different content creators in the smart home industry or the community saying, you know, basically throwing them under the bus. I did watch one that was kind of like, you know, the vulnerability wasn't that big of a deal, but at the same time, Wyze should have said something, and they didn't. And I feel the same way as that. Just they should have said something. They should have handled it properly instead of leaving it, not saying anything, and a third party found it. I get it. Companies at the end of the day need to make money, and I get that they're already in a bad position, but I think them coming forward and saying, hey, there's a security issue and we're fixing it, would have been a much better solution than to keep quiet for 3 years. I think that was a bad decision on their part. Other than that major one, they've had a couple of lawsuits with like Xiaomi and some other Chinese companies trying to claim patent infringement and all this other stuff, but they've won those cases. That's not such a big deal. It happens all the time in the industry. Someone says, hey, that's my design, and then they go to court for it. But I think Wyze was cleared of all that, and basically the court said, no copyright infringement here. I think it's funny because I was in Walmart a while back, and there was Roku selling smart home stuff. And if you look at it, it looks like it is Wyze. It's their cameras, it's everything, just branded as Roku. So I thought that was a little funny. Yeah, it's kind of the bad of the company. I mean, other than that, the good thing is they have a pretty good beta testing program. I've been a part of it for a while. Never really got my hands on anything, I guess because they run out. But you know, they issue these things out to beta testers. They get to keep them. They try to get good feedback from the testers to make sure the product's gonna work when they actually ship it out. I don't think I've ever gotten a product that just failed. I've had a client that got a camera that failed, and I messaged Wyze over their little chat thing on their website, and it got fixed right away. They didn't even They asked what order it was on, and they said, okay, we're going to send you a new one. They didn't even ask for the old one back. I actually had the old one up until a week ago, and I tried to test it out and found out that there was a broken wire inside. But other than that, I've never had a Wyze product fail. So, you know, like I said, their quality for their price and their customer service is pretty good. Just that one security issue that I have a problem with them. After that happened, I kind of stopped buying Wyze stuff. I used to be a major fanboy. Like, I was recommending it to everyone I knew, all my clients, because I have a smart home consulting business. And for those on a budget, it was perfect. I recommended that all the time because it was affordable and they worked. And they were pretty solid. You got a bunch of features and a bunch of cool stuff for like $35 on one camera. After the security thing, I couldn't recommend it anymore. I stopped buying them. It's not that I don't keep up with them and look at their new products, but I'm kind of iffy. I didn't go ahead and rip everything out of my house by them. I just monitored stuff really closely. I have a router that will actually tell me if devices on my network are acting suspicious. I can't recommend them to anybody anymore, knowing, you know, that they did that. I mean, what else could they be lying about? What if their V3s have a huge vulnerability that no one's aware of, or anything like that? Just there's a loss of trust there, and I think once you lose that, it's hard to gain it back. So, my final thoughts are the Wyze products are great. They have solid cameras. They have solid light bulbs. Everything is pretty solid especially for the price that you're paying. It's just the company behind it. I used to love them, so it's kind of like, almost feels like a breakup with them. But I can't after the loss of trust. I still watch what they do. I'm still hoping that, you know, if another security vulnerability comes around, they handle it correctly this time. And I think at that point they may gain some of my trust. But I have to see that first. You know, I don't know if there's more vulnerabilities out there that they're not talking about, or if they're lying about this, that, and the other. You know, if God forbid one of their cloud servers get compromised. I mean, these are kind of issues you got to think of with every smart home company. I mean, I'll still watch what they're doing. I may buy a product if it's really good and it's worth my time, but as of right now, I don't recommend them anymore to my clients. So yeah, if you found anything informational about this video, give me a like, share maybe. If you want to hear more from me and want to see the upcoming projects I'm doing, subscribe and ring that notification bell. And also I have Twitter, Instagram. I do shorts all the time, and I do a lot of my shorts on TikTok first. So if you're interested in there, follow me there. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next video.